Joe Burrow has more power, this is not debatable, than any player in the history of the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't care how far back you go. You cannot name another player who has had this amount of power, this amount of influence, this amount of sway, who has taken the Bengals from something they were going to do and completely and totally sent them in almost a 180-degree opposite direction. Joe Burrow did that. This is a franchise, if you go back to like the 70s, where players would tell you that Paul Brown would go out of his way if he could to cut whoever the NFLPA rep was. This has often throughout its history been a very player-unfriendly franchise. And even if it's been player-friendly, they do not put the power in the lap of a player. That has changed. Obviously not just with any player. Joe Burrow right now might have more power than any player in the entire NFL. Look, all players, if they could, want to exert influence. Some of the best ones do. Many of the best ones at least get ownership's ear. I can't think of another NFL player who got their team to do what Joe Burrow has gotten his team to do. I don't think there's an individual player in this league who has more power than Joe Burrow. He has run this offseason. He, frankly, right now, it feels like he runs the team. He got the Bengals, a franchise that is often called cheap, frugal. I would go with stubborn. He got the Bengals to pay more than $100 million to a player who a year ago was not in their future. Say that out loud. He got the Bengals to pay a player, at least devote over $100 million worth of resources to a guy who was not a part of their future plans. That is remarkable. We'll see if it works out. We could debate the merits of it. We could discuss roster construction and what's next and how good of a player T. Higgins is. And God knows we have done that for months on end. But that is, to me, the story here. That is the most significant part. Joe Burrow got the Bengals to do guarantees that historically they do not do. The Bengals, the most stubborn, obstinate franchise, sometimes to a fault, sometimes maybe not so much, the most stubborn and obstinate franchise, maybe in all of sports. He got the Bengals to pivot. He got the Bengals to cave. He got the Bengals to pay. There has never been an athlete in this town with that kind of power. Legitimately, I can't think of one. It might be more famous athletes, might be more accomplished athletes. I can't think of an athlete in Cincinnati sports history who has had this kind of influence and who has successfully used that kind of influence. Joe Burrow today is being called the team's new general manager. Daner's piece on The Athletic calls him exactly that. The general manager of the team. Now, he obviously doesn't have that title, just like LeBron James doesn't have that title with the LA Lakers. But LeBron is often called the Lakers GM. That means Joe Burrow is in LeBron James' air. How about that? That's pretty rarefied air. It also means that effectively Zac Taylor works for Joe Burrow. So does Duke Tobin.